Oh, we should be live. Hopefully this is all working now. I'll just double check the settings on my phone. Just, the game audio seems to be a bit low. Just fix that for a sec. That should be it sorted. Yeah, that seems a bit better. Setting up the settings. Yeah, that should be everything good to go. So then, today I figured we'd do Dante Must Die mode. I've set up a separate file for it just because I did the first few minutes of this mission just to, see if everything was going alright. Because if not, I was going to go back to this and then do another run through on normal or hard and just get a few more items, but nah, it's about as good as it gets, I think. That's just the standard intro. I'll skip the main intros just because they go on for like 10 minutes, and if anyone going to play this game, they know the intro like off by the top of their hand, just because you see it so, not often, but you see it quite a bit. But I will leave the in-game cutscenes such as these on just, because some, not context, but just some flavour text and flavour scenes would be kind of useful. Although technically speaking, they won't all be on here. Because of the way this is set up, obviously it's set up as a New Game Plus mode, and because it's a New Game Plus mode, you don't get some of the smaller cutscenes such as obtaining Elastic for the first time or Ifrit. I'm not too sure on the Ifrit one actually, I'd need to double check that, but it's one of those things where with Elastic you've already got it, so it's not sitting inside of the judge's statue, so you just figuratively cannot get that scene. With Ifrit, I haven't checked the Ifrit room, because since you already have Ifrit's gloves, you might as well just go straight to the torch and light up the torches and just skip that entire first encounter with the Griffin. Just because, the Griffin's alright fight, but he does, he is a bit resource intensive, so to say, because if you really don't pay attention to his thunder attacks, they can melt your health even on hard mode, which is my main concern, where because on hard mode when I played through, it didn't seem like there was too much of a problem, but on the same hand, Nightmare, oh god, he lives up to his name, I'll tell you that, just because he's so awkward to deal with the projectiles. And that's one other thing that changes in this new game cycle. Because I'm on New Game Plus, all of the blue fragments that I would have collected are now yellow orbs, which, I've only got 26 at the moment, which is not bad. 10 Devil Stars as well. I'll be using them quite exclusively towards endgame, specifically towards the nightmare fights. So I'll be using those or untouchables just to get E3'd out and start using Inferno spam to deal with them. Don't think I've missed any red orbs. Nah, I won't have. So I'll just go into there. As for other changes from this new game cycle, obviously I've still got all of my weapons. I won't be using much of these throughout this round 3. I'll be mainly sticking towards shotgun for the sins and death scythe/scissors, because using a shotgun to two-shot them is generally the quickest method, and given the whole Devil Trigger mode, I don't want them to be alive for too long. And the other one I hear, because I haven't played D&D mode before, I've just done normal and hard. I did normal mode back on the PS2 days a few times, but I never felt incentivized to go after the harder modes. But the one thing I remember from them, and also on the forums, was that the grenade gun is brilliant for Devil Trigger. Because last time I tried it, a direct impact of the grenade could recover 1 unit on the Devil Trigger. Used that to save me a few times actually on Griffin, because the regular just using guns and that didn't help much for the damage, so just use a grenade launcher, get up to say 4 or 5 units of Devil Trigger, and then I'll just use a Elasta and air raid him for a few times, because that does some fairly good damage. Also, because there's a new game plus I have Sparda. I'm probably not going to use him that often, because he's just not that useful, so to say. I mean, the power buff is brilliant, but with the Sparda, you're unable to use Devil Trigger. And in this mode, when enemies can Devil Trigger themselves, you need the Devil Trigger mode of your own to stand up to them at that point, because they become almost tanks, so to say, because they don't get hit stun from regular attacks anymore unless you're in Devil Trigger mode as well. They don't have, what was it? I think they had boosted damage and boosted health, maybe speed buff as well. I'm not too sure on that speed bit, because I've not really played this mode before. But as for everything else in this mode, it should be fairly simple. Because looking around, obviously I did 1 or 2 hours of checking around in the forums, asking questions, seeing what was around, just to find out the exact differences. Devil May Cry Wiki actually goes into that for quite a bit of detail. And for that detail, I'm talking about exact values. These values were to do with their health. I'll just pull them up for a second. I don't think you'll be able to see them on stream, just because of the way it is. Where was it? I know I had it up somewhere. Yeah, Devil May Cry, here we are. In normal mode, obviously, enemies are 100 health, 100 damage. In hard mode, 100 health, 250 damage dealt by them. Which is awkward. But, because of that, you could still get away with most of your combos and attacks, which was quite useful, really, because of certain enemies, mainly shadows. I hate shadows with passion. I can reliably get the critical kill on them in hard mode, where I will show you later when we fight one, because it's going to be a mission or two before you fight them. But they have a spear mode, and once they go into sort of almost like a little column, so to say, very tiny little pod thing, and then a spike shoots out of it like a spear. If you are able to bait it quick enough, you can get it to fire at you and then jump on top of it. And once you've jumped on top of it, it just freezes up for a couple of seconds. And during that time frame, you can just unleash hell on them from bullets. And if you are able to get enough damage in, then it will just instantly go into the dying phase, which is very useful, especially when there's more than one of them, because they really know how to hoard you. But anyway, as I was talking about the Dante Must Die values, the health of regular demon encounters is 90%, which, you know, is just to compensate for the Devil Trigger mode, I believe. The bosses have 250% health there, and both types of enemies have 250% damage, just like in hard mode. So you're really not going to have much longevity, so to say, because the enemies can get you maybe 6-7 hits, and the bosses like, say, Phantom, they can very reliably kill you in 3 or 4 hits if you are too reckless. And you know, that's just the way it is. This is another change, obviously, for hard modes, and carries over to Dante Must Die mode, is this, the enemy placement in general. Because in the regular difficulties, that is meant to be the marionettes. These are marionettes, obviously, standard stuff. Bloody Mary if you're the red one, hate them, because they can sometimes shoot guns at you. But these are what is known as the fetish. They are the more powerful version, and they deal with fire mainly. If you attack them a few times and carry on doing the same sort of combo, they will just interrupt it and use a fire attack, and that fire attack is quite damaging. Not to mention the fetish in general has very potent attacks. The most powerful one I've seen is the... Just a sec, seem to have problems with the microphone. Yeah, I think that should... I just need to quickly check my audio settings. That might do it, I think. Yeah, I'll give this a shot for a couple of seconds, see how it plays out. Anyway, there's this... Oh, okay, cool. But as I was saying, the fetish is just really fucking annoying. There's a, the most powerful move they have is the spin attack. They don't do it too often unless you bait them quite hard. And that is, yeah, they stand still for a couple seconds, so you've got a nice little queue of it, really. But they spin for a good 5-10 seconds, and they constantly, say, attack you. Yeah, they'll just constantly move towards you, and that hits are very lethal. Not too bad in normal mode, but on hard mode, you can probably lose, I don't know, half a bar. And that's being generous, because the double damage, about 2.5 times damage stipulations of hard and DMD mode don't make these too generous. And yeah, it took too long with that marionette, so there we are. One hit almost took an entire bar off. Just what I always wanted. One other change that is in this mode is Devil Trigger in general. Your Devil Trigger just loses its regen ability, which is something I used a fair bit in normal mode, because in general on this mode, the vital stars in this game are not as cheap as, say, 3 onwards, where you can carry up to 99 of each type, and that just really meant that you could war of attrition half these fights. But as you see here, just a few hits from Devil Trigger mode and you get rocked, absolutely. And in this mode you can, in Devil May Cry 1 in general, unless you're playing on easy automatic, you can only hold one vital star at a time, and vital stars cost 6,000 red orbs at a time. It's ridiculously priced. Same with the untouchables really, and the untouchables are the items you should be using most. If you had, say, 20 of them or 20 vital stars, you'd want the untouchables more often than not, because those can save you a lot in boss fights. That's something I'm probably going to have to do in this run as well, because for nightmares especially, their fighting is just stupidly awkward at points, because you'll be focusing on one area, you'll be focusing on, say, the back core of him, but then a couple of seconds later, suddenly beams will come out of nowhere, and those beams have just ruined your day, so to say, because, they are largely undetected, and, you can quite easily miss them, and they just manage to really ruin it. As for this, I'm just trying to more reliably deal with the... shit. Forgot to pay attention to that sniper there. But for the the main move that I've seen the best success with is the 4/ combo, where you can, at the last hit, change it into whatever you want. The main hit I try is, I do the first 4 and then I try and chain it into a high time or into a stinger attack, because the stinger attack is really useful for short bursts of damage, which is something I plan to use on the shadows, because in regular difficulties I could quite easily just get the shadows to go into their weak core mode when I wasn't critical killing them, put on Devil Trigger, spam a couple stingers, and move on with my life, because that will usually put them into their dying state, which is really what I want. Great. Took too long again. So these guys are trying to fight off. By air raid, see if that does any decent damage. It works a fair bit actually. But there are quite a few enemies in this mode that are quite a killer at points. Just because in the original difficulties, there's always enemies that just have a few easy to unleash attacks that aren't say unannounced, but you can very easily just not notice them, and that has happened to me quite a few times, just because of the way this all pans out, so to say. Find another air raid, see if this does something. This herd are getting a bit too thick for me. I mean, granted, these are only the marionettes, so once it comes high time that we have Death Scissors. Death Scissors especially, they are the worst. So when I've got Devil Trigger and tier of damage, this will be a living nightmare, I think. There I managed to snipe out the fetishes. If I left those fetishes to live for too long and they Devil Trigger, I think that would have been game over. Should probably try Euphreet for a little while. Just because the way he deals damage, I can quite reliably have the Inferno move. That can save me quite a few times. But to get to Inferno, I need Devil Trigger, which is where the grenade launcher comes in. Maybe not. Apparently the grenade launcher was giving me 2 per hit there. Also melted those marionettes, so probably look into that a bit more in the future. But yeah, up the top of this biplane, on the wing of it, there was a blue orb fragment there. And obviously because of New Game Plus rules where everything stacks, they just put it into a yellow orb. And in this run through, I'm probably going to look at as many blue orbs as I can, just for the sake of getting some fuller yellow orbs. Because I'll show you in a second once I've saved, but in this mode, the yellow orbs are really expensive. Let's see, 3,000 orbs. That's not too bad, so to say, but yellow orbs in normal difficulty were 5,500. So, what I'm going to have to end up doing at some point is probably just save scumming it and just, you know, purposely reloading the game for a certain mission if I end up wasting, say, 3 or 4 yellow orbs in that one level. Because I really cannot afford to start buying yellow orbs up, because that would be money that should be put towards Vital Stars or Untouchables, which I'm going to guess are approximately 6,000 or 10,000 apiece. I can't be sure on that because, again, I haven't played this difficulty and the prices in hard mode weren't even that expensive. So this is just going to have to be a shot in the dark, so to say. I think I hear nobodies. What's that? Oh, nobodies already. Jesus. Could have sworn they weren't there in hard mode. Hold on. Shotgun works wonders on them, as does Elastor, because... Oh no! Even worse. It's the shadows. Oh, come on. Hey, don't use shotguns on shadows, ever. It's the one thing I really recommend against, because you need as much range as you can of these little monsters. Oh no, it has a Devil Trigger mode. So, just have far from simple sting, but yeah, main tactic here is keep your distance and use your handguns to attack them, because in game, naturally, they say it in the bestiary, you can't use swords on their animal part, you can only use it on this core. And as I said before, Devil Trigger, use Elastor, and wait, what? He has the spear mode in this? I don't think it did. Oh, you are kidding me, there's 2 of them here. But they say in game that these beasts have been around for thousands of years, and during their time they fought a lot with knights, so to, you know, make themselves stronger, they adapted themselves to a magic coating to make themselves immune to swords. However, that doesn't apply to their actual core. On their actual core, bullets don't work, but swords do. which is a blessing in disguise because swords, well, the guns in this game aren't designed to deal much damage. They are just meant as a sort of chip damage thing to keep your combo going, or in some cases juggle enemies. I juggle enemies a fair bit in Devil May Cry 3. I don't juggle too much in 1, just because the combo system in this game is a bit strange, because especially in 3, the style system, so to say, where with combos you can't just spam the same attacks and expect a good multiplier in some of the lower tier cheaper made games such as say Deadpool's game, where you could just spam guns and the damage on guns is ridiculous to the point of what's the point of using melee weapons, but also just you could use that to rank up like a 400 hit combo without having to worry too much, especially if you had low damage guns to just spam with, let's say, an SMG that you didn't level up. But that's not quite the case in this mode. Well, in Devil May Cry in general, you just use them as combo helpers, nothing else. But with the way that the style system works in this game, I don't think they fully programmed in guns. Because I've noticed several times in this game actually where I'll be doing a combo, I lead into say an up air time, I do a small tap for the attack button to just get a simple launch. If you hold it, you go up with it, which is useful if you want to say carry up a combo in the air. But the main thing I use is high time some enemies in the air and then just juggle them with the bullets for a fair bit. And for the most time, if it's the last enemy, they can't counter it at all. It does take them a fair amount of time though, which is something I really don't recommend, especially on this difficulty when enemies are everywhere. God, shadows. Is this the right door? Yes, it is. That's the key out. I don't want to fight Shadow. But anyway, these I believe are Scythes. Scythes, they are not very strong. The main tactic I use is 2 shotgun blasts, point blank is enough to finish them. If you want to go for style kills or complete bestiality, you do need to get what is known as a critical kill on them. The complete critical kill revolves around using your sword to deflect their attack. Their scythe. And once their attack is deflected, then you just go in for the kill. And it's a guaranteed 1 hit. I think the same applies on Dante Must Die mode because critical hits have nothing to do with health. But again, I can't be too sure on that because I don't do the critical kill often, because I find that putting myself in danger of possibly getting hit by a scythe swing or scissor swing just for the chance of speeding up the kill by 1 shotgun blast isn't worth it. Same applies to this difficulty, I'd say, honestly, just because of how ludicrous their damage output can be. Don't go for the critical hits unless you're certain you can get them, because if not, you're just wasting time and you could be wasting half of a health bar. But again, that's not unconfirmed, but if you're reliable with critical kills on these, then go ahead, do it. The Sin Scissors, I'll put them up in the bestiary because I don't think we'll encounter them at all in this mode. Sin Scissors, the basic ones that just use scissors, they are completely easy to get a deflect on because their scissor swings are slow, delayed, and most importantly, because of the nature of the scissor, having to go out and go in, you've got a large hitbox to hit your sword into, and on that part, you'll have plenty of openings. Just swing it, knock it out of the way, walk right up to him point blank, and then hit him with a blast. Some people say the handgun works for the critical kill, but I'd say just use the shotgun because these sin scissors are stupidly weak anyway, so most of the time they die to 1 or 2 shotgun blasts anyway. But it's one of the things where the hitbox is slightly strange on the sin scissors mask, because the mask is the only part of the beam that you can hit. Their capes and all that are ethereal and don't actually exist, so to say. Your sword will go right through them. But the critical kill, you need to deflect, and then you need to move forward and left, so that you're... Oh, there's this mode. I thought that was only in Demo Code 3. But in this difficulty, in this game, you need to be point blank on the right side of the mask to get the closest to it. You pretty much want to make sure that the barrel of the shotgun is kissing that mask, because if not, the game has a tendency to just not count it as a critical. What's this? Guiding souls gather. I don't remember that puzzle at all. I only played this game last time was 2 days ago, but I don't remember that puzzle actually doing anything. Definitely wasn't secret mission related either, I know that. But in here obviously is the Staff of Judgment, and that is what you need to hand to that judge statue in the other room. Right, nothing. Well, I mean, in this room, I think are the only sin scissor spawns in hard mode, unless they changed it on this mode to have death scythes. Well, not death scythes, even death scissors. Death scythes are a complete other story. They are mini bosses through and through. Let's see. Or is it just a straight up sin scythe? That's leading towards a sin scythe. Oh no, it's sin scissors. Again, just don't put much thought into it, just get up close, shotgun. The shotgun was in this room, it was on that table I broke earlier. But again, because it's New Game Plus, I've already collected it, so they don't bother putting it in again. Mainly for the sake of convenience, I think. Although, personally speaking, especially for E3, or even Nightmare Beta, I would have made it so that if you were to gain a duplicate weapon, you get rewarded, say, 1,000 red orbs. Because with the way E3 works, if you go to collect it, since it's needed for progression in the first cycle, that spawns Griffin's first fight. So, if, depending on the player, an extra round of Griffin added in really might be worth 1,000, 2,000 red orbs. Because this is Dante Must Die mode, I'm not fighting Griffin for any more times than I need to. But as for the, on hard mode, it's not too bad. He's fairly standard. For the sake of this playthrough though, I won't be doing too many of the bonus missions, because some of these bonus missions get very overboard, so to say. Specifically, the very first bonus mission, actually. Is it the first? No, not the very first. What am I saying? I think it's the second bonus mission or something. But that bonus mission requires you to fight 3 shadows, I repeat, 3 of those cats, at the same time. And if you die, that bonus mission is done. You can't retry it. Which is an odd requirement, because every other mission in this game, secret-wise, lets you retake them if you fail. This one, no. If it was, say, your first ever time playing this game, and you did want to do it, I'd say to get an untouchable. You do not want to be messing around with shadows, especially on your first playthrough when you don't know the tricks. Because if you don't know the special spear insta-kill method, they will destroy you. Even in normal difficulty, when they don't do, when they do 100% damage, you don't have the health bar for it, because they have so many tricks up their sleeve that if you don't pay attention to, they'll just absolutely finish you. But anyway, this mission should probably focus on the one at hand. This is a fairly standard mission. It's pretty much a boss mission. There's only one extra encounter in this mission that isn't a boss, and that is the Sargazos at the bottom of the ocean, or moat, whatever that is. Actually, no, that's got to be an ocean, hasn't it? Because this is a castle on Malay Island. It isn't landlocked, so that is probably the actual ocean, judging by the lower skyboxes, I have to say. Because the HD collection, whilst it's great, because I'm so glad that just like the PS3 and Xbox 360 versions, they've kept it as original to source as possible. They didn't remake it. They didn't add any features in, like say the Crash Insane trilogy. This is just Devil May Cry 1 with 1080p and 60 frames a second. But as far as everything else goes, it does show a bit of laziness at points. First, as in those low res skyboxes, but also the devs were too lazy to redo the pre-rendered cutscenes. So whenever something in this game has a pre-rendered effect to it, the game instantly goes back to its 4:3 ratio that would have been on the PS2 version. Which is a bit of a shame. I kind of wish Capcom put an extra ounce of effort in to redo them. But, I don't care too much. Anyway, Sargazos. These guys are an absolute joke. They don't do much damage from what I recall. Again, it's been not years, but it's been a fair amount of time since I ever got hit by one. All you need to do is just get point blank, shotgun in the face, and that's usually a one-hit kill. Nothing special, just move on. Nothing ever happens. And they usually drop a health ball after you kill 5 or 6 of them, so you normally make some money back. Here's another another blue orb fragment that some people miss. Up there, on that little island. It only appears once you break the bridge, which can be a fair amount of time. Well, not a fair amount of time, but it's not the first time you look for it. So don't look for it as soon as you get out of the sanctuary or church and start getting panicked. You have to wait a couple of minutes for it to happen. You just got to jump on top of that platform and the blue fragment will drop down, / yellow orb, depending on the cycle. Alright, let me just have a look. 28. I'll risk up to 3 yellow orbs on this fight. If I reach 25 yellow orbs and I still haven't beaten him, then I will probably look at reloading my save, just because I do not want to waste these yellow orbs at all, because they are too useful to lose. But as for the Phantom fight that's about to come up, the next boss, well, the first boss even, I mainly stick to the handguns and Elasta. I've seen a lot of people have a fair bit of success with Ifrit and the grenade gun. However, I can't find much use in the grenade gun for the Phantom fight. He's just too fast, and in this mode, when he's got 250% health and 250% damage, I need to have the more agility of the handguns to keep up with him. Especially since in this mode he might be able to kill me in 2 or 3 hits. I might have changed that. Well, that might have changed since highlight, I'm not sure. Anyway, here's the first major cutscene. I would just stay silent for the cutscenes. Move fast, he attacks at the first second. He is a very quick thinker. Okay, fire can only do half a health, but that's not too bad. Anyway, as I was saying, just keep your range. You do not want to get close to this guy. He has far too many moves at close range that you want to mess with him. Especially when he has his tail out like that. He can just smack you, and that's a fair bit of damage dealt that you just really can't account for. Normally air raid is the weapon of choice here, but no, look, his Dante Must Die mode health is just too high. He's barely noticing this. Gonna have to get a bit more up close and personal, I think. As soon as you dodge flame pillars, as I failed to there. But oh, come on, camera. You're normally better than this. Yeah, ideally I do not want to spend a green star on him, because he's just not worth it, but he's just not something I want to spend on this soon, because I won't have enough green, well, red orbs to afford vitality stars once Mundus shows up, because the final boss, thankfully, is a very big challenge in this mode, and for that I want all the red orbs I can afford, so I can get stocked up with untouchables and, well, untouchable and a vitality star. Maybe a few devil stars for that, because then I can bypass the first fight, well, the first phase of his boss fight. Handguns aren't working. We have to try the grenade gun. Okay, it still is one swipe for... No, it's just, he's too fast. Really, I can't risk much with him. Oh, damn it, I thought he missed. Oh well. Anyway, that was how not to approach Phantom. I'll probably start this round with the grenade launcher, because that worked a fair bit. But as for tactics for this fight, I'm not too sure. I probably will have to go with the stand back and snipe with grenade jam, because if not, he's just going to last far too long, which can be quite problematic for this fight, because, you know, he is so beefy in Dante Must Die mode compared to hard mode, where even on hard mode you could war of attrition him quite easily. Just my main strategy is just go up top, use a lasso to air evade, which is the thunder attack from the sky, and then once that runs out, I just jump on his back and start slashing madly. Wait for the devil trigger to recharge. Once the devil trigger to recharge, back to the air raid, and that was usually enough to kill him. But that's not going to work in this mode. You have to get a bit more creative. One other strategy for the grenade gun I have seen, I can attest to, if you roll as soon as you shoot the grenade gun, oh, I say grenade gun, it is a grenade launcher, but they call it grenade gun in game. But if you roll as soon as you do it, the reload time is mitigated. I mean, you can fire a lot faster, which is why I think this gun is considered so beastly for Devil Trigger. I don't think Capcom planned for a reload cancel from rolling. I might be wrong there. That might have been fully intentional, especially considering Bayonetta has dodge offsets for her Wicked Weaves. That changes a fair bit of your combo game, if you know about it. If you don't, well, obviously you're not going to, but because they don't really speak about it in-game. But it's one of those things where, if you don't know about it, it's fine. You can still beat the game perfectly fine. But on harder modes, you really want to learn about that technique, because that can save you a lot of headache and a lot of time. Because then you can save your more powerful weaves for a better time, because then you can use your dodge to hold it for a second. Primarily, the main method being, say, a dodge, go straight into a witch time, and then once you're mid witch time, you can unleash the full power of that weave and not miss too much. I mean, this Devil Trigger recharge is brilliant, but the main problem with Phantom is he is stupidly strong. And it's something that's not, the fault of his game. They explain it in game as just being his rock-like armor does make him impervious to most attacks, unless you hit him in a sweet spot. Primarily his face and his back if his tail is out. But just because of how auto-aim works in this game, Dante is very prone to just hitting one of his claws, which doesn't deal the damage you want. Also doesn't help that Phantom deals so much damage compared to what you're used to, so you just sort of get phased a bit and you don't think as much. Like there, I should have jumped instead of rolling. That roll cost me my life, really. Weapon choice here, surely. No. That's one weapon I won't be using too often in this mode for the sake of Devil Trigger preservation, and that is the Nightmare Beta. This gun is stupidly situational, because the main thing is, it's a beam attack, and whilst beams are good and they do a fair bit of damage, the Nightmare Beta is powered from your Devil Trigger, and you do not want to be wasting your Devil Trigger on a mode when you need Devil Trigger to fight most of the enemies reliably, because if not, they'll just have their DT mode of near invulnerability because of their increased health, lack of stun frames, unless you're in Devil Trigger mode. Yeah, that's just the way it is. Yeah, as I said, you can stand on his back, but just don't. It's so risky. Because of Dante Must Die mode especially, your attacks are chip damage at best, so don't risk, getting hit 3 or 4 times just for the sake of one tiny little pot shot that's not going to do any damage. I think it's just due to the fact of its difficulty mode, you do have to play a lot more defensively. A lot more defensively than you might have imagined in, say, normal mode, just because of the sheer damage output in this mode. I say this mode, it isn't exclusive to this mode. It's part of hard mode of difficult, the damage output. But the boss's health, that is definitely a Dante Must Die exclusive. So you really don't want to be war of attritioning it, because that 250% health, they can just sit there and absorb it. They're not going to have much problem with you just swinging a few extra times, because it's not going to mean a thing to them. If this was normal difficulty, or hard difficulty when he has 100% health, he would probably be almost half health by now. But again, Dante Must Die mode, he is very much alive. Yeah, it's just gonna have to be chip damages mode. Thankfully I am using a last door, because the two Devil Trigger modes have different traits. That's just again down to what each gun weapon even is meant to signify. Alaster is built for agility in mind, whereas the Ifrit gloves, they aren't built for agility, so they don't give you much of a speed boost like Alastor does. Alastor's DT is just brilliant for the sheer speed, which again, in this mode, you're playing defensively. You can't afford to get hit that often, so you need to be dodging. You need to be on your toes. So having a Devil Trigger mode that keeps you on your toes and much more available to dodge is what you need. But regardless, this is just, I think Phantom was a make it or break it for everyone in their first playthrough, because he has plenty of moves at his disposal that if you don't learn, you're going to get hit by them. There is no excuses. There is no way to escape it apart from just learning the patterns, learning the moves, and imagining that this guy will also be the benchmark boss for D&D mode as well, just because of the sheer nature of it. This should be like the first wake-up call to the people that have played hard mode and not, that haven't, shed a tear or anything, just because it's like, he'll come in, he'll be your wake-up call, and it's like, no, you can't do the same tricks. You need to be defensive. You need to be keeping an eye on the enemy at all times. Which is easier said than done at points, because this game has a very awkward camera at points. But, it's not functional, but it works like it's meant to. It can't have been any better, honestly. And considering this game came out, I want to say 2001? It's not like we've missed much. And compared to other games at the time, this is definitely one of the better camera angles. You do remind you of the original Resident Evils with their fixed camera perspectives, which weren't ideal at the best of times. I need to stop jumping these fire pillars. That's the main reason I'm getting hit from it like a little dope, because that's not going to work. If I jump, I have a few seconds of downtime between each jump. Not a few seconds, but I have a split amount of time just waiting between each jump, which he can just use to take advantage of you. Not to mention the fact that a jump isn't as fast as your on-ground speed, so they're going to catch up with you, whereas if you just keep walking, they shouldn't hit you. Okay, I can get through that little gap. And the main way you can tell if he's about to do it is obviously just keeping an eye on him. If you look at his animations, you'll notice what he's doing. Like right now, he stuck his head in the ground, so that was the cue to fire pillar my way. Likewise, if he's charging up his mouth, he's about to shoot a fireball. And if you're quick enough on the draw, you can use that to your advantage, because you can shoot the fireball, and that makes them backfire for a second, which gives you another second or two to fire. Right there, because I was able to shoot him, even right there, better example, just because I was able to catch him at the right second, that managed to give me an extra second or two to get my grenades in and hit him where it hurt, so to say. No, this is mostly a battle of patience, really, I think, at this point. Go on, Phantom. Just expose yourself. Nope. Let's see, because I got a bit too cocky there, so he unleashed his wrath. Missed the Devil Trigger regen so much. I'll need to look into that later, but I'm hoping that's just a Devil May Cry 1 thing, because I remember the Devil Trigger recharge in 3 and 4 being quite generous at points. Hitboxes, I think, there. Let's see. Yeah, this is going to be the last yellow orb of this attempt. If it fails one more time, then I'll just have to restart. Because I mean, it's only 20 seconds to run up and down a corridor, shoot a Sargazo in the face. Not much is lost, not much is gained. Apart from yellow orbs, because I need as many yellow orbs as I can get. I mean, looking back at it, I probably should have waited a few more cycles and just purposely farmed out some more yellow orbs. Because my last run through was on normal, and I didn't bother too much with yellow orb gathering. It was mostly just for the sake of red orbs, as well as getting the guaranteed holy water. Not holy water, holy waters, so I could have a stock of them, which I intend to use in Nightmare. Maybe Mundus. I might use them on Mundus as well, if the fights get too long. Because Mundus is no joke, and I'll stand by that decision every second of the day. Even in normal difficulty, if you don't pay attention to him, he will just shred you without a second of thought. Which I appreciate, because, you know, I think, you know, at the time this game wasn't too hard, but, you know, it does enforce some very good habits of just, you know, you've got to keep an eye on stuff, you've got to be focused, you can't just, you know, mess around with these guys. They've got moves to use, they've got the damage output to back it up. It's your time to act. And, you know, it's one of the few things I enjoy about Dark Souls is that, well, not a few, I found a lot to enjoy about Dark Souls, but yeah, it's one of the things I love about the Dark Souls difficulty curve is it just felt right. There wasn't a time where I thought it was overdone. It just, everything felt quite well integrated, and, you know, difficulty wise it was balanced extremely well. At least Dark Souls 2 was. Dark Souls 1 wasn't too well balanced. Because in Dark Souls 1, like, there was always like 3 or 4 weapons that everyone used, and that was about it. Because the other weapons weren't balanced well enough to put that into consideration. Which you really feel in New Game Plus, because in New Game Plus on Dark Souls 1, the 4 kings are really bad. Because instead of having a normally designed boss from FromSoft, thought that their best plan would be to just make a boss that's essentially a damage test. If you don't have a high enough damage output, you're just going to be swarmed by the 4 kings, and there's not much you can do about it at that point because the damage is done. And it's like, oh, you spent more than a minute dealing with 1 king. As a result, 2 more kings have spawned behind you and are about to kill you. You can't do anything at that point. It's just, okay, I've spent too long, that's a bad run, I'm gonna have to purposely kill myself and just head back, because, you know, if I wait around any longer, I'm just wasting my own time. I mean, you might be able to have good timing, because I know there are people that have beaten Dark Souls 1 without getting hit, beaten Dark Souls 1 with just, like, say, the regular stick or broken sword hilt. I'm fairly certain someone's beaten it barehanded, so there's bound to be a secret I'm not aware of the 4 kings, but I think that's camera angles. But yeah, I think it's one of those things where I'm not too concerned about it personally, because the Four Kings are my least favourite fight. I soloed them my first run, my New Game cycle, but for New Game Plus, no. I spent about 4 hours on them on New Game Plus, and I just couldn't keep up with their damage even when I used my same sword that was plus 15, and it was considered the best sword in the game, straight sword wise, the Boulder's side sword. Had that, I'd put a fire infusion, not a fire infusion, but I was using black pine resin, I think it's called. Not black, charcoal pine resin to get fire infusion on my sword for a short brief time. I used that, I two-handed to get my full stat going, and the damage output just wasn't enough. So, I'd consider that a bad design on FromSoft part, because every other enemy in that game was fun to fight against, but that one just wasn't. It was poorly designed, and I'm hoping for the remaster they change a few of the stats and just have a little look at him, because I'm probably going to pick up the remaster when it's available on Steam. But again, that just the whole not Four Kings, but the whole debacle of the Four Kings just makes me not want to play them again. Which is a shame, because the other boss fights in Dark Souls 1 were brilliant. It's the one thing I think Dark Souls 1 always had over 2, was the boss design. The boss design in 1 was just spectacular. Same as the level design in 1, actually, because of the way it was set up. But I think Dark Souls 1 falls apart in a few areas compared to 1, well, compared to 2 even, just because of the initial setup. And whilst I enjoyed the near Metroid stylings of Dark Souls 1, with the way the bonfires work and all that, where there is no shortcuts until the very end of the game, well, the midpoint of the game even, I think it drops the ball with some of the areas, just because of that. But again, I might not be overreacting, but I might be misremembering, because it's level design is always subjective. There's never a wrong answer, or a right answer for that matter. But I think Dark Souls 1 was well set for an endurance match, because with the bonfire mechanic, it was definitely designed as something closer to a survival horror game. Just because, if you get lost, you can't do much about it. You need to learn how to make do with what you have to get by. Whereas in Dark Souls 2 and to extension 3, although I don't enjoy 3 that much because I have built, because you've always got a full amount of Estus Flask, I think that Dark Souls 2 was just better built for more battles in general, because they could know by default that, you're always going to have this amount of Estus Flask, so you can start making enemies do a bit more punishing and use that to their advantage. Whilst in Dark Souls 1, it's like, you can maybe have 5, you can have up to 20, whereas in Dark Souls 2, you can only have 12. Which is one good thing, because 12 annoyed me, because it was not an odd, but it was a strange number to use. But, because there's less certainty about what you could have at any given point, it feels like the levels were toned down because of it. But I'm noticing a lot of times where the regular mooks they didn't do much damage, and there wasn't that many of them at any given time, so a lot of areas just felt like a pushover. There wasn't much holding you back. And whilst I do enjoy that, because it did mean you could really just go anywhere, I do prefer, not horde happy, but I do prefer the more active nature of 2, which I think struck a really good balance between hordes, intense action, and just 1 or 2 really imposing enemies. Oh, come on, camera. fire the grenade launcher in the sky, but you can't. That's what I'm talking about. Just need to get pot shots in. Come on. But yeah, I mean, I'll talk about Dark Souls 3 at another point, but I'm just, you know, I've been very on off with Dark Souls, so to say. I played a lot of, well, I mean, I played a bit of 1 and 2, but I never got far in them because of hardware limitations. Because at the time I had a really bad little laptop that just couldn't run anything. Dark Souls 1 just, it ran at 20 odd FPS, which really caused problems for me after a while because I just couldn't keep an eye on stuff that I wanted to. Just everything felt a bit choppy even. So it just made for a non-ideal situation really. I still beat the Bell Gargoyles, so I got to that far on my first run. Same for Dark Souls 2 actually. I played it the same year Dark Souls 3 came out, because I just sort of took a break from the series at that point, and I just figured, oh, if Dark Souls 1 doesn't run, then 2 will never run on my PC, or my laptop even at the time. But then my friend told me about Scholar of First Sin Edition, and how because it was 64-bit, it would probably run quite well. Yeah, so I took him up on it, and yeah, it did. It really ran well. That's one thing I always give to Dark Souls 2 is its engine is the best in the series. I love the Dark Souls 2 engine. But as far as, you know, as that went, I got my new hardware about a couple of weeks after I picked up Scholar Edition for my laptop. So I was like, you know, I was having a good time, but you know, I have to change hardware now. So there goes my save file. So I played a fair bit of 3 at that point. You know, I did up to the Undead Town, and then I just called a break because I had other stuff that I purchased in the summer sale that I wanted to play, such as Witcher 3 and Arkham Knight. I've been meaning to play that for so long, and then I picked it up in that summer sale, so I was set. Oh, come on. This was hard mode. Be dead by now, Phantom. I need to get up close and rock him. That doesn't work. That doesn't work out too badly. It's a bit risky though. Oh yeah, that's especially risky if I didn't have a gun ready. If I didn't jump up, I would have died. Unless I've still got the one more hit. That's one feature that Devil May Cry always had, and Bayonetta carries on with this. But no matter your health, as long as you aren't critical at that point, you will always survive that hit. You'll survive with maybe 1 HP. That you probably won't even see on your health bar, but you know, you can survive one last hit before that point, which I think is a good little safety net, because you know, you can be having a great fight and then it's just one thing leads to another, and you know, you're almost dead, but they're almost dead, and it's like, never mind, the game's got your back and it's going to save you for one last hit, so you've got something to do. You know, you can recover from that, so to say. Come on. Yeah, like that. I had one last hit there. Alright, do this big, I shouldn't have been there. I really should have been out, but Okay, this is going to be a tough fight. Okay, if I just avoid this, he turns around soon enough. Doesn't do that either, because that's what I want right now. Okay, he's on the ropes. Avoid this fire pillar. Yep. I'm just gonna air raid him now. I don't care, die. Thank you. Well, that's one boss down. Not even one boss actually, that's just the first fight with him done. I've still got another fight with him. I'm going to be skipping the two that are optional though, because they are not worth my time. But before I forget, there's a secret mission. This is probably one of the most annoying secret missions for me, because I always miss this one. But even recently when I had a little guide up for secret missions, I just instinctively went straight back after I defeat Phantom. So I'd missed it, and I was like, oh. And it's like, you've only got the one mission to do it, so... Actually, is this the secret mission I want? Yes, it is. This is the... I forget what it's called. I believe it's just critical. But, we'll see it here, actually. Yeah, critical hit. This is the one where you need to defeat a Sin Scissor in one hit. Thankfully, they only ever give you one Sin Scissor here, so it's very easy to focus on. But, in general, this fight, well, this technique can be awkward. I'm not going to mince words. I mentioned it before, but the way this... No, I'm not... It's not happening. There it is. No, it's not doing it. Why isn't it doing it? Let's need to... No, that doesn't do it either. Is this one of those fights that's impossible on DMD mode? We'll never know. I'm certain that isn't it. No. No, that was the normal secret mission I was thinking of anyway, so I'm not too concerned. No, we'll just move on and pretend that didn't happen. Or because we've taken our secret mission, we're now on the other side of the bridge. And I think we can get this anytime after the fight with Phantom, or after the bridge collapses even. There's a blue fragment waiting back here, but again, because of New Game Plus mode rules, that's already in effect, so I don't need to get it. Well, you know, I don't get a blue fragment. Bit of a shame really, because I kinda wish this game went Bayonetta a bit, where you did have 3 health bars. I think 3 bars would have made this difficulty mode a lot more fair. It's not enjoyable, but you know, it'd be a bit more balanced. And apparently that was an A rank. I'm not complaining, that's 403 red orbs. And the best bit, I didn't waste too many yellow orbs either. So we should be in good shape for the next mission. The Black Knight. This is where the shadows are meant to show up for the first time. The shadow being those strange little cat things you saw last time. But again, hard mode remixed the enemy locations, and normal mode, well, Dante Must Die mode follows hard mode regulations with enemy spawns, so yeah, that's fun. Let me just listen for a second. I don't hear anything. Oh, of course, yeah, this is the Phantom fight I'm skipping, because he is not worth my time. He rewards like 1,000 red orbs in normal mode, and I imagine I'll be scaled up to like 2,000 or 3,000 in hard mode and DMD mode. But again, he is a very dangerous fight, so he's not worth going after. But anyway, the thing we're meant to be doing in this fight is get the lion statue, put in that proud soul that we got from the phantom fight, and then you just destroy this statue, and ba-bang. Oh no, it's a death scissor. Okay, death scissors. You can't use guns, you have to use your sword. There is no easy way about this guy, you just need to be active or else he'll blindside you. Just jump and slash. And I hope he doesn't go outside of the map like a little guy. The main thing that seems to trick him is if you jump off of the wall, because you've got two main methods of getting into the air for a second time. You've either got jumping off of a wall, or you've got Elaster. If you get a technique for Elaster called air hike, you can jump in the air again. And with that jump in mind, I'll show you who it actually is. We're clear now, so I can demonstrate what I mean. Okay, thanks game, nice little bug. But yeah, this is air hike. This costs 2,000 red was what I was saying. Invaluable technique, and that's something Ifrit doesn't have. His jump move is known as Rolling Inferno. It's this one, and it just means that your jump is replaced with an actual attack, which is very useful. But in most boss fights where you want maneuverability, the double jump is just 10 times better. Okay, that's a nice way to introduce me. Just simple juggle here, there, and they're dead. Marionettes are never going to be too meaty unless they're Devil Trigger, obviously, because this mode is obsessed with making enemies quite overpowered at points because of the Devil Trigger mode. Try not those ones though. Might be because they're not Bloody Marys now that I think about it. Let's jump over here. There's the sword. The death sentence even. Use death sentence on the soul inside of the bedroom, which I just went past. There it is. Yeah, female, the medical expression. Use the death sentence. And out she goes. Melancholy soul. And there's no rest in this game, so I'll just stay silent for this bit.
This stinking hole was the last place I thought I'd find anyone with some guts.
So then, we've already got another boss fight and it's only been one mission. And I just realised I forgot to get the 2 easy secret missions. Oh well. If I can defeat Neo Angelo, because that's his name, spoiler warning, without dying, I'll be fine, because I can count them up as a cost. just a second. Meshmail just need to deal with this. That'll do. So then, Angelo. What can I say about him? He's not that bad. At least not his first fight. His second fight, though. Well, not second even. His third fight even is nightmarish. He does kick off with a sucker punch there. Alright then. Oh, he's very iffy. But as for tactics for this guy, it's hard to say. He's a lot faster though. Thankfully, this guy does not react well to your Devil Trigger. He gets stunned like nothing else from it. So I guess if anything, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, just... Okay, thanks for that, Nilo. I was just explaining your strats. Don't need to show me up. Alright then. Once I've got some time for myself, there's just... grenade gun. Okay, we've got breather. That's good. Okay then. Okay, he's still active up there, so then. Let's see if we can't get a free Devil Trigger on him. Oh, and I probably should have mentioned the music you're hearing. The standard theme music you hear when we're fighting enemies is known as Public Enemy. It's a great piece, actually. The piece when we were fighting these shadows and that Death Scissor was known as Psycho Siren. That's known as the general theme for mini-bosses. The other theme from Phantom's fight was known as Red Hot Juice. Again, I'd say a great piece because Devil May Cry 1 has a fantastic soundtrack. And this guy, Neo Angelo, his theme tune is known as Ultraviolet. Again, it's stated as Ultraviolet. That might be a translation error because in the iTunes soundtrack they messed up with the spelling, so just Public Enemy is put down as Pubic Enemy, which is definitely wrong. Alright then. What? Why did he not get animation locked there? He should have been stunned. Oh well. I'm just going to have to move on. That was going fairly well though. Alright then, just get grenade gun, ready to go. Again, he starts off with a sucker punch, which isn't very nice, honestly. That's the one thing that's always annoying about Devil May Cry 1. There are so many times when this game just sucker punches you in a cutscene. The one that you would have missed from this cutscenes is actually when you first meet the shadows for the first time. The first thing you see them do is sucker punch you with a not spear. They've got this thing where they jump in the air and become this like spinning disc thing that's stupidly lethal. Again, just If it's given us this time, we might as well use it. What? Someone sent me something from Steam. What is it? I don't care. Oh, okay. Someone just sent me a clip. It just wasn't much. Ugh. I was thinking before I get up. Okay then, thanks for that, Nemo. Animation locks. One more yellow orb before I restart file, because I do not want to be wasting yellow orbs on Lilo too many. Also don't want to be wasting vital stars either. I want to be saving those as much as possible. There we go, back him into a corner. Okay, it's duck and weave, duck and weave. Not much to see here. Okay, good, we'll get him on to his next phase. Like I said, the main plan here is just hit him with quick, fast sword swipes, just to avoid him getting any swipes off like that. Again, just animation lock there didn't help me. Good, last phase. Actually, is taunting at this distance work? Nope. Grenade launcher at this distance does. And just get that angle. It's a devil star. I'm gonna have to use a devil star at this point. If I end up wasting this devil star for nothing, then I'm definitely going to have to restart. Do not want to be wasting these items. Okay, yeah, that's ground for a retry of the mission. On the plus side, though, I can use this as an opportunity to get those yellow orbs I missed. So then, the missions I missed. There's one right here, actually. Phantom Baby. This one is probably the easiest bonus mission in the game, honestly, just because of how it's set up. Just take your handguns and go to town. Just keep an eye though, because they do scatter quite easily. If they scatter too much, well then you're out of luck. There should be a collection up here, yep. And sorted. Might as well finish them off though, because 3 red orbs is 3 red orbs. That would do. And there's the 3 yellow orb. I don't know if I'll bother with the other one actually. Because down at the bottom of the corridor where Phantom is. No, I need to get it. It's too risky to do it otherwise. I'm just gonna have to run. Yeah, because he does nothing but spam his stupid fire breath. There we are. Got time to breathe. I missed the wrong corridor. I'm meant to be down a further one. This one, in fact. Phantom Baby 2. Same standard procedure, really. Just keep going. Where'd the game bug down? I should have killed them all there. Huh. Unless it's not guns. Let's see. Oh, yeah, it's only walking on them. That was my mistake. There we are. Yellow orb. Easy peasy. Night it turned the people mad. Oh, okay. I don't think I've read that diary before, but there's nothing here. Books are records of past civil court hearings because of harvestment births. Okay, that's nothing. And that's a shame. I'd like a bit more flavour text. Oh well, what am I going to do? I've got 24k and a few more yellow orbs, so I should be good now. Might as well save her just to make it official. Then that way, next time I start this mission, if I choose to reset, I won't have to do the secret missions again. That doesn't sound good. No, it doesn't. Getting rather good. Alright then. Yeah, just Pride of Lion, that's what it's called. So let's just taking a drink break. Much better. See, as I was saying last time, this is a death scissor. the deaf ones are immune to guns, so you need to be using your melee on them. Just be careful, because they can very easily deflect your sword for no apparent reason. And I've never been sure on why. Should be done with this little spree, yep. There we are, just... Again, the deaths and the sins, they don't have much potential to ruin you, but again, it's one of those things where if you play too recklessly, you will just get finished. There is no easy way to push it, sounds slow. There's nothing this end. Yeah, if you're a little bit more parkour incentivized, you could probably do some creative platforming to get past all this, but again, I'm not here for platforming, I'm here to just get the job done. That's a problem though, because I purchased the Vortex for Lester's Devil Trigger mode, I can't do the Helmbreaker whilst I'm in Alasta's mode, which is probably going to hurt me or it's going to help me, because that overhead swing is brilliant for finishers. I've used it a lot actually on Michelangelo in the past for my fights, just because of the sheer utility of it. Specifically speaking, the when he's when he's blocking stuff, you can usually get an overhead on him, and that will more often than not break him. It says diplomacy with neighbouring countries. Oh, what's new? A note by a castellan. Often I feel that the time passes warmly around here. In some places the flowers never die. In other places they wither ever so quickly. I'll stay here very long, for I know my sanity will leave me. Huh, that's cool. Again, it's just one of those things where I've not really looked at it before. I'm going to assume that the castellan is the owner. Let me just double check that. Actually, I've got Google up. What is a castellan? I'm assuming it's Spanish. I know it stems from Latin. The governor of a castle. Okay, so that's presumably who owned the castle back in the day. Yeah, some red orbs up in the bed. Portrait of his and his spouse. Cute. That's one thing I've always liked about Dante in this game, is that whilst I enjoy the eccentric and over-the-top nature of Devil May Cry 3 and 4's Dante, the Devil May Cry 1 Dante did have a lot of charm and reservation to him that does help appeal to his to the cool side. But yeah, that's probably just me overlooking it all. Right then, so I'll get the grenade launcher ready. We got fire that last attempt, so this should be the one. I do love a castle theme so much. Because I can't go up there instantly, that's a shame. Alright. Oh. Right then. Bang. Right then. I was off counter with my own stuff. Yeah, the 1,000 stab seems to be the best move for Michelangelo personally. Especially in double trigger mode, because what usually happens with it is the first two lead to an attack where he leaves himself bright open, and then the repeated little stabs just usually keeps him open for a little bit longer to get some pot shots off. I have seen some success. Pause that for a second. I have had some success with Ifrit in the past, especially on his third phase. I had great success with that just because of how the summon sword works. But again, that's neither here nor there, honestly. Just gonna bait him some shots. Hopefully that'll... Actually, he's taken some damage here. So maybe I can just grenade launcher this entire phase out. Because at Battleground, it's terrible. Maybe not. That stung like a lot. On the plus side though, I should be almost done with this phase. Yeah, I'm done with this phase. Good. Might as well try the same again. Okay, apparently my shots are missing. Here. Nope, I'm just gonna have to go up there and take... Okay then, that was fair. Oh well, I still have 30 in my stock. Beating him is just gonna be a matter of time. There's nothing I can do at this point. I'm just gonna have to jump in. There we are, that's a much better cycle. Alright then, cancel the double trigger, try grenade sniping again. This worked last time. I see no reason why it wouldn't this time. See what I mean? Just standing still, Dante takes a few seconds to reset himself, whereas if you roll, you go straight back to it. I need to be a bit closer to trigger his energy beams. Is that what's happening? I need to wait a second longer for him to start firing. Okay, why aren't you doing that cycle now? We need to be further back to trigger him. No. Just have to do it the old-fashioned method, I think. Yeah, he rocks. Okay, then what happened to my spare hit? Was I too far down on my health there? I don't know. I'm gonna have to try until 25, I think. I mean, right now I've broken even from the orbs I would have had that I didn't get from the, what's it called? Secret missions. Alright then, let's see. Okay then, what was that? Okay, I thought I jumped there, but apparently I didn't. That was just Stinger straight up destroying me there. Again, the lack of Devil Trigger regen really stings in this mode. This isn't going to go well, I don't think. Never mind, it worked. I didn't get hit that cycle. And now I just need to pray that he doesn't pull anything cheap once I get up there, because if he doesn't, I might be able to do the same thing up here. It's impossible to see him from here. Just have to go on the ultra offensive. And just hope to God it works. Come on, just one more grenade. There we are. Good. Although, this scene comes up, and it just makes the whole fight seem pointless, because Dante just gets kicked anyway. So he seemed to have some reaction to that amulet. I believe it was known as the perfect amulet? Again, I might be wrong on that. And a D, of course. Many 50 red orbs for that. 500 for the boss though, that's good. 25k, that's getting closer to the sort of red orbs I want banked. I'm going to give a sell for the paraphaser. Oh, okay, it's just a 2-second one. So it's powered up, so now it takes your health away. But of course, I'm not going to make you just. There's two of them. Oh no. Let's go with this. Alright, that's one down. This is good. Now I've just got to play on the evasive. Alright, then I'm going to have to risk double trigger. Yes, there we are. Alright, that's him dead. Now I need to run. Run. That's him dead. Made the health. Right then. Wait, was this the one that drained my health, or was it just the other one that had a... Oh, the other one just had a soft time limit. Okay. Try and get that. Yes, I'm going to try and get this yellow orb fragment. Come on, Dante, just grab the ledge. There we are. There's one up here. There is another one around here, but I don't want to get it just yet. I'll wait a little while to get it. And then the melancholy soul, that goes downstairs, specifically down here. Just don't bother fighting, just pop it in the door and you're done. Especially on harder difficulties when you don't have the time, because those death scissors will rock you hard. Just, you need to get in and get out. And if you do it in decent time, you get an A rank. I have gotten a few S ranks on here though, but that was back when there was only one shadow, so I just critically killed them, instantly started running, and then I could just jump straight down without having to worry about any interference. I had to try and go for that yellow orb there, so that helped me back a few seconds, which is why I didn't quite hit the S rank. When here over the waterways, this is where you're meant to encounter the... what's it called for the first time? Oh... death scissors. But again, on hard mode and above, death scissors start popping a lot sooner. Right then. If I see a statue of time, I might look at how much a green star costs and purposely sabotage myself just to see how much one of those would cost me. There's one here, just sit here and wait for it to drop on your head. So we're up to 31, that's good numbers. Very good numbers actually. Now then, one other difference in this mode compared to the others. There is a new enemy going to be introduced right now that shouldn't be introduced until like, I don't know, 10 missions. And those are the Frosts, probably my least favourite enemy in the game. They are horrid to deal with. You need them because up ahead is a key. Because they are in this room. And it's strange because in this room they're meant to be Beelzebubs, like fly enemies. But in hard mode they don't show up. I think they might show up in one tiny area, but that's it. Anyway, for the Frost, do not use anything but E-Fruit. Elastor does not work well on them because they're frost based, so you need the fire damage. Never mind, it's the Plasmas, a different enemy entirely. Just don't bother too much, these enemies also require E-Fruit though, don't use Elastor, because, you know, Thunder-based demon doesn't want a Thunder-based sword on it, does it? There we are. That went a bit too messy though, I should have cleaned that up, but again, using Elastor does some damage, I think. I'm certain I've finished someone off of Elastor. But it's one of those things where they just, at that point, they're nearly immortal, so just take them out the normal way. Anyway, as I was saying, they are known as the Plasmas. Not much to know really, just they're made from electricity. So don't use electricity on them. These are the ones I'm not looking forward to. They should be in the next room actually, Frosts. Those are the fetchers I mentioned earlier. No bodies are what I thought I heard earlier, but those guys are quite tame. Some people report problems with them, but I've never noticed it. Because one thing that people do not realise is that if you were to high time them, which is where you do the uppercut with the sword, they don't go up in the air, they stay on the ground. So what you do is you hit them with a light airtime so that, you know, you just get the uppercut, you don't follow it. And then from there, they're up and stunned, and then that gives you a lot of time to just pummel on them without any regrets, because they won't recover for a while. And I believe they get hit stunned whilst you're doing that, so again, make full advantage of it. That's near Angela, as I said. These are the enemies that don't show up really in these difficulties. Beelzebub. I mean, they're not missing anything, honestly, they're flies. As for strategies, really, you don't have a strategy for them, because they're sort of like the marionettes where they do nothing, just hit them. If you want specifics, I'd say shotgun. The shotgun does a really good job of putting them in their place. As does the scissors, as I said before, and the thin scythes. Doesn't work on death scissors though. They're I believe it says somewhere here. Yeah, it says here in that middle point. The head of the main body is their weak point, but regular guns don't have much effect on it. So again, use your sword. You might be able to use E-Fruit on them, but again, don't try it. Because of how E-Fruit works, he's not very good in the air for using aerial attacks, so you won't have much of a chance to really get in and hit them with him. Death Scythes though, I believe these have gun weakness. Yeah, some Death Scythes can be gunned, so if you can, use that to your advantage, because you're not going to get that chance often. Same with these plasmas actually. You've got a chance to use the guns on them in bat mode, but only in bat mode. Once they're in humanoid mode, you can't do much with them. Wait, is there still a plasma kick around? No, there isn't. Good. Oh, I know what I'm thinking of. The frosts turn up next time I'm here, because I'm about to travel in, attack the death scissor even. Once I fight the death scythe, then they start showing up elsewhere. And speaking of the mandatory death encounter, it should be just around this corner. I'm just going to take a little detour just in case. It's just green orbs. In Devil May Cry, most games actually in general, that think about it, if you've got excess health and you pick it up, it's just currency. Which might be quite useful in this run through, honestly, just with the way it's all set up. Anyway, these are the markings of a death scissor. Because you couldn't see them in the first encounter we had with them because of, you know, the hard remixed enemy waves, but normally you'd find a death scissor by these markings on the ground, and these indicate the cage you're meant to fight him in. Again, he's not too bad, but you've got to pay utmost attention with him because he can finish you super easily from that drill attack. But again, just carry on and you won't have a problem. Oh, this isn't good. Nah. I didn't stand much of a chance of him there. He was just too good. He got me caught in the loop. A very bad loop, really, because of the devil trigger. If he hadn't had a devil trigger just ready to deploy, I probably would have gotten him, but just again, that Elasta, what's it called? Just double check. Vortex. Because of the way Vortex works, it just means that it's useless to fight him in the air with a devil trigger Elasta. And considering the whole you need your devil trigger to fight their devil trigger mechanics, that doesn't work too well. But what am I going to do? Just going to have to fight through it. Okay, maybe E3 is the way to go. Okay, I take it back. E3 rocks against these guys, just using Inferno and they're mincemeat. Right then, guiding light. This is the one I'm thinking of with the much more clear-cut time limit. Because with the guiding soul, if you were to use it, but once you pick it up, it drains your health. And it drains it for quite a while. So, you know, just be careful. I don't know what to say, honestly. Just this is the one part where it gets awkward though, because even in hard mode, this area is problematic, and that's because in this part of the mission, you need to start fighting off frosts, and frosts are not pleasant to fight against. I think they're just around the corner, actually. Well, next corner, even not this one. I'm thinking 2 steps ahead. I will gladly take that free health. This is the Phantom encounter. Yep, not bothering with that. Yep, goodbye Phantom, no one cares. Here they are, Phantoms. Never mind. They were meant to be a lot more problematic, but their main thing is they're frost elementals, so put fire on them and they're not going to last long. So, you know, just use E3 and put in as much damage as you can. Normally people use Kick 13, because that does a very good job of stunning people. But as you saw there, Inferno is brilliant for that. And just take the stairs up here. Thankfully the game is quite generous enough to put this where it's meant to be, so you just drop down. Into the bedroom you go. Put it in here. Didn't see the keyhole there. I don't know where that keyhole's meant to be. Unless you just present the key and it opens up and then you use the key on the door. Anyway, as I was saying, this is a very risky fight with the Frosts. Because unless you use the Inferno move, which costs 5,000 red orbs to obtain, there is no easy way to fight them. Yeah, this is known as Kick 13. It's the closest the E3 has to Stinger from Alaska. But when you're in Devil Trigger mode, it kicks up a notch. And instead, the actual, your Devil Trigger mode will do like 5 or 6 kicks at a time in that one area. And it's very good at dealing short bursts of damage, which is what you need in some boss fights. The one boss that I specifically remember it being great for is Nightmare. With his exposed Nightmare cores, if you just, do a Devil Trigger to kick 13 into it, you can just spam that for a few times and you can really kick in some damage on him. But one other thing with Nightmare is that there are a couple other tactics you can use. One that I predominantly use is the Nightmare mode. You have, every time you fight Nightmare, you can get absorbed by his goo state once. You can get absorbed more than once, but then at a point only deals damage. Once you enter it for the first time in that whole fight, you go into a Nightmare section. In there, there's a few Sargazos, nothing special. And then a rematch with one of the bosses. And that's, that's not bad. But if you defeat that mini-boss, that revisit, and teleport out, you deal 25% damage to the Nightmare. And one thing I'd personally recommend is, the more damage you deal to Nightmare, the more desperate he becomes, and that affects his attack patterns. So what I'd say is, some people like to do this at the very start, which is quite a dangerous maneuver. Instead, I'd say save it until he is down to approximately 25% or so. And once that moment hits, just wait for the switch on the side to count down, and for him to go back into his goo state. Jump yourself in, get the absorption, finish that nightmare sequence. And then once you come out, he should be near death. And then from that point, you just finish him off. It won't take too much. Anyway, there's a statue of time here. I saved? Did I? Might as well do another save, just it can't be too safe. Right. If I use a vital star now, well, if I go and get myself hit, I'll see how much a vital star costs in this mode. I'm expecting a lot. No, I can't right now. Because right now we're about to refight Phantom. For the last time though, thankfully. As for tactics here, there is 2 ways to kill him. Which is a very nice attention to detail to how he dies in this cutscene. You either kill him, like a normal fight, or you let him jump on the window 5 times, and he'll break it himself and instantly kill himself. So, that's how I'm going to take it out, because I am not going with that whole endurance test again.
Finally, I was getting tired of playing your childish games.
Right, there's a jump attack. That should be a crack. Yeah, that's a crack. Obviously though, because this is a real fight, he does have new moves up this tape. Primarily, that is the volcano bit he has on his back. Come on, just do another jump attack. There's another attack. You saw there, the glass actually does shatter, which is a very nice little visual indicator of progress, really. There's another one. I think there's just one more now. That should be him preparing for it. No, that's not a jump attack. Okay, I thought it was letting himself out for a jump. That is right. Just one more and he should be out of here. Okay, he apparently missed the glass there. Oh, okay. Another smash. We should have broken it by now, unless he missed the very first jump. Actually, looking back at it, I think he did miss the first jump. Come on. You're angry, you want to jump. You want to jump. You want to jump. That's not jumping. Come on. Okay, he missed again somehow. That was risky, I shouldn't have jumped there. But somehow made out of it alive, so I'm not complaining. Not gonna make it out of this alive if I keep on getting too close to him. Okay, why is he being so benevolent this round? Normally he's meant to have broken me by now. You know what I want? One more jump. One more jump. There we are. That way around, you don't have to kill him. You can just let him kill himself.
You're right. I'm his son, Dante. Sweet dreams.
What room that is? Is that the lobby? Yes, that is the main lobby, don't worry. No, mate. I'm just misremembering where that was in the castle. Oh, Forbes, that's beautiful. Oh well, staying from there and you get another blue orb fragment. What I'm missing. I think I've collected all the items I can at this precise moment in time. Except for that little pinnacle. That's one strange mechanic that I remember fondly from 3 is that there are certain areas where if you reach a certain pinnacle in that area, you get some free red orbs. You know, I'm not going to complain because, you know, red orbs are red orbs. If I can get some ones for free, then so be it. Yeah, but it still does strike me as a bit of like, you know, who was meant to figure this out? I mean, I still haven't figured out all the pinnacles available in this game. I just found out that one. I mean, you're bound to discover one of them by accident. Like that one in the fountain where you encounter the shadow for the first time. We have to present the Pride of Lion. But again, it's one of those things where it's just strange like that. And I probably shouldn't have clicked that just yet. No, I should have saved it for a second. We need to jump in here for a second because there's a little player. Actually, let's try a run. We're not gonna make it, but come on, come on, come on. Didn't have enough time. Never mind. Right, back up we go. Oh, well, I'll just kill myself here actually. It'll give me more devil trigger so I can actually devil trigger sprint it. Not even any devil trigger there. Okay. And the game's decided to be a bit cheap today. It's enough to get something going in a second so I can make some progress. Let's move on. Yeah. I'll fashion a last sprint and you're good to go. Jump in here, there's another blue orb fragment, or yellow orb for me. Mission clear. Not a very bad mission, really. Only a C rank though, okay. Pretty close I died there actually. No boss bonus, that's weird. Normally they give you a bonus for a boss if it's oh no, never mind, I know why. Because the boss already died before the mission ended, so it drops the red orbs then, whereas say at Neil or Angela you don't get a second to collect the orbs once you die, so they had to give it to you there. Anyway, that's mission 8 finished with. Mission 9. This is probably one of the more, not famous missions, but this is one of the main missions where I'm going to be speeding it up a bit. Because normally I should be having to fight Griffin for the first time here, but I don't need to fight him here. Because he only shows up if you collect the Ifrit gloves from that room, and because I already have the Ifrit gloves, I can just light up the candle and move on my merry way, so to say. Still in good standing for right, I don't have to waste any yet. Oh. Now this is the first mission actually where you get introduced to the second battle theme, known as Lock and Load, which is the theme of Dante. It's probably my favourite battle theme in the series actually, I love this version of it. And it abruptly ends there. But no, I do just love the way it just sort of carries on throughout the song. It's really good throughout. I mean, I love the version in Devil May Cry 4, because I bring it back for that with Dante's chapter. But you know, grandfather clause kind of fit, you know. Anyway, back here, the tombstone, break it open. Well, not break it open, you move it aside and there's a fragment or yellow orb for your troubles underneath. Anyway, I was talking about before I got sidetracked. What they want you to do is go down that little corridor, like there. In there you find the Ifrit. And then as soon as you come out of that room, it's all dark and stormy, and Griffin shows up, and just you gotta fight him. Alternatively, though, if it's your second run through, you've already got Ifrit, so you don't need to bother with it. Just come here, light up yourself, and you've skipped an entire boss fight. It's quite useful, really, on hard on it, just because, again, you don't have the luxury to spend all of your items, so you need to start being careful about what fights to pick and what fights to, you know, spend items on. Anyway, this is where we're meant to be introduced to the fetish for the first time, but again, because it's hard mode and above, they introduce him as early as the first mission. Okay, he's double triggered instantly. That's new, that's new, that's new, that's new. Grenade gunner. There we are, that's what we're talking about. That's the fetish down, so that's pretty much the hardest bit. Mind, there's another one. Give it some mind. Thankfully they're in normal mode and all that. They don't have much health, so because of Dante Must Die giving the enemies 90% of their health unless they enter Devil Trigger, you can quite quickly knock them out and prevent them from even hitting Devil Trigger to begin with. Right, what was I doing? I'll just move on. Ooh, should be good. This room. Up here first. Get this red orb statue here. I was never sure on how this exactly worked. But you know, you just keep on hitting it and it showers red orbs until it breaks. Good way to get a free couple hundred orbs, really. Back here is, I believe, a Devil Star. Devil Star, yeah. I've got 11 of them now, so I can probably afford to spend on soon. Yeah, only 3 grenades to flatten them. So I mean, as long as you reload cancel with a roll, they shouldn't give you much hassle. Well, this is going a bit messy because of how I'm setting this up. Because of the camera angle, I can't get a consistent roll off, and because of that, I'm doing some jumps, and jumps are so much slower than a roll. I mean, you still cancel the reload, which is, you know, what you're looking for, but, you know, it could be so much quicker. I knocked them all out. You don't need to kill the enemies in this room, but I am for the sake of red orbs, because they didn't go too badly there, that fight, so I could afford to stay a few more fights. But it's just a standard red orb door, 200. It's not too expensive, but having said that though, I still think the idea of red orb doors is a very bad mechanic. If I was, I mean, I don't think they do it in 3. They definitely don't do it in 4 though. Oh look, there's Griffin. We should have fought him earlier, but I didn't. And because I bypassed him and got so much good time, it gives me an S rank. And it gives me a nice 1500 red orbs. So I'll just save, and there we are. Mission 9 done. Next mission is kind of missed. I think Nilo Angelo is in this chapter, so I don't really want to do it really. Oh, there's also this forest section we have to guide an orb through. Yep, I am going to call this a session for tonight, and I'll probably look at streaming this again Friday. Maybe not Friday actually, it depends on how busy I am, because I've got some work to do before I get too ahead. So I'll stream again at the next earliest time, because so far Dante Must Die has been a fun challenge. Alright then.